must be Tana.
I am. I got Doc's letter.
Yeah, he said you would be here.
Yeah.
Welcome back to the podcast.
What the hell?
Oh, it's just a time circus.
This is.
Don't worry about it.
Oh my gosh.
This is how we travel in time.
I love it.
So Doc said you had a story.
Well, doesn't everyone?
Yeah. I'm really interested because, I mean, Doc apparently was doing a lot of research and he said, I need to hear this.
Oh, well, I'm excited to share.
Yeah, this is going to be an interesting drive.
Are you ready for
I'm ready. The plutonium chamber seems to be full. I just filled up the Mr. Fusion in the back. So we've got enough for a couple time jumps.
Oh, cool. Okay.
All right.
Well,
so let's
I'm
get
here
rolling
until tomorrow.
Here. Well, we've got enough time. We're in a time machine, if you recall.
That's true.
That's right. So.
Well, you look great.
Well, thank you. So do you.
Well, thank you.
How was the train ride in?
Oh, very nice.
Yeah?
Lots of very interesting people.
Yeah, the train can actually have a lot of characters. You never really know who's going to be on it.
No, not a lot of friendly individuals.
No, well, you are coming from Chicago, so you really never know what you're going to get.
Right. Well, I know what I didn't get, and that was a warm reception.
Yeah, it can be cold in Chicago, especially in March.
Yes, it's quite nippy.
Yeah, March 25th is the present day we are in right now. And we're going to take a little drive. Now, if you're unfamiliar with how time travel operates,
yes,
the way it works is you need to have enough speed to get up to 88 miles an hour. And once we get to that speed, then that's when the wormhole opens up and we travel through time.
Oh.
And so I guess what Doc wants us to do is go back into certain points in your life that were influential, or there was an impact, there was a date, like a pivotal moment in your life. But the one thing we got to make sure is you don't run into your old self, because if you do, the consequences could be disastrous. You don't want to throw off the timeline.
Right.
You might disappear.
Oh, well, I don't want that to happen.
We don't want. The whole paradox thing happens. It's not good. So we could start right now if you want to just jump in
Absolutely.
time.
Yes, please.
So tell me, what date would you like to go to?
Oh, well, do you want the date or the year?
Well, we have to have a specific date.
Okay.
So if you could pick a date,
yes.
then we will go ahead and type it into the type pad here.
Okay. Yes.
And then we'll accelerate to 88, and we'll be there.
Okay. Well, then let's start with May 17th, 2005.
May 17th, 2005. Okay, time circuits are in. You verify the date?
That is correct.
Okay. All right. Let's go. Well, I love it. A little bumpy sometimes, but it's always exciting.
That's great.
Jumping through time.
Wow.
So it's May 17th. It's 2005. Where exactly are we?
I am in New York City, New York.
And what's going on in New York?
The live finale of The Apprentice, Season 3, Book Smarts versus Street Smarts. 41 million people are watching me.
41 million people.
Yeah.
Were you nervous?
Oh, I just got the nerves. Did you feel that?
Yeah.
I just got the nerves all over again.
Did you really?
Yeah, I did. I'm glad you felt that. That was so cool. Yes, I was very nervous. My life was going to change from that moment forward, and I didn't know how.
So this is the season finale, season 3 of The Apprentice.
Yes.
And who are some of the contestants you were going up against?
I was going up against my buddy Chris Sheldon. I was going up against the other finale, or the finalist, Kendra Todd. There was Aaron Elmore. There was John Gafford. There was Danny Kastner. There was 18 of us. there was a lot of us. It was quite the experience.
Now, I love The Apprentice. My wife and I watched it all the time. It was one of our favorite shows.
Oh, great.
Oh, yeah.
So did I. Hence why I wanted to be a contestant.
So, what inspired you to go on it?
I wanted to go on the show because I wanted to prove to myself, it was really self-validation, that I had what it took to be one of the best in the best of the best, is what Donald Trump used to say.
Yeah.
And my regret in life was that I never finished college. And so I had something I needed to prove to myself. And so this show was that validation that I didn't need a college degree to be successful.
I mean, that's a pretty bold move.
Oh, it was beyond
to go, okay, like, I'm going to prove to myself, to everybody, and I'm going to make it happen. But I'm going to do it on national television,
Yeah.
of all places.
Right. Talk about guts. It was so scary, but I've always been a fearless person, so I figured, let's just do it. And I wanted also my children to see that moms and dads have dreams too, and have aspirations and goals. And I also I was okay with the fact of just letting my kids see how this would unfold, win or lose, because there's lessons in both.
So what lessons do you think you picked up, like, on that show?
Oh, I learned so much. I learned a few things that I actually have a whole presentation called Lessons Learned from the Boardroom. Just a few of them are, never let people see you sweat. Man, if they know your weakness, they'll expose it.
Well, and you would go into the boardroom
Yes.
on that show.
Right.
And from what I was told, the boardroom originally was an actual boardroom, and then they made it into a set.
Correct.
So were you going onto a set, or were you in the original one?
I was in the original one.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I was in
And
the
where
original.
was that in Trump Tower?
It was in Trump Tower. Gosh, that was, I just brought myself right back to walking into that marble, incredible front foyer with just like the smells of exquisite perfume and the smell of money. And I took the escalator up before I was going to walk into the penthouse, and just the emotions of, here I am, a mom from Iowa, going up against all these 22, 3, 4, 5, 6-year-olds, and I was willing to kick ass. And
did they discount you? Like, oh, here's a mom from Iowa.
Yeah.
You know, like,
Yeah.
we're gonna wipe the floor with her.
Right, like, look at this lady. She's a mother. Like, she's super sweet and nice till they met me in the boardroom, and they're like, yeah, what is she doing? She don't stand a chance. And I just kept wiping, cleaning house, and every week somebody was going, and it wasn't me. So it was really cool. I learned so much.
What were some of the more, I guess, greater challenges you faced when you're on that show?
Oh man, the greatest challenge is so being an entrepreneur, I get to pick and choose who I work with.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're an idiot, we don't work together. And I love that because I don't tolerate stupidity well. And so the hardest part of it was having to work. I don't tolerate stupidity. The hardest part was to have to work with people that you would never work with,
right,
that were just silly. Like, the brainstorming process was a horrible challenge for me because I make decisions fast. I'm very I'm not impulsive at all, and I can get stuff done from creation to actually happening, like, overnight.
Yeah.
So there was a lot of, like, taking forever to do things. And
because you're working with all these people who are also, like, they had to go through an audition process.
Yeah.
And, like, how many people were on that show? I mean, they had teams.
So here's the deal. Over 1 million people applied, and 18 made it. Then there was 2 teams of 9, the ones that had the college degrees and the ones that were entrepreneurs, street smarts. And I was on the street smarts team. And
1 million people.
Yeah, it was incredible. So
wait. So you submit yourself into this batch of 1 million, and they whittled it down.
Yeah, to 18.
To 18.
Yeah.
And then they just called you up and said, "We want you."
And there was a few steps I had to take. So they whittled it down to like 500, and then from that 500, they sent us all to different cities, big cities. I had to go to Omaha, and they pretty much put me under lights in the camera to see, you know, what I looked like on camera. And did I light up? Was I shy? You know, was I what I showed I was in my audition video where I sold Mary Kay cosmetics to men and took their money easily. And so they wanted to make sure I was this killer, competitive go-getter, and I was. And so they put the cameras on me, and so then after that, then I had to go to New York, and I was sequestered. I had to go to LA, where I was sequestered for a week playing the mind game to see who can cut it. And I cut it, and then I made it down to the 50, and then from the 50, Mark Burnett interviews us and asks every question under the sun and pokes at you and prods at you to see really what you were all about. And I honestly believe the reason he chose me was when I said, I'm not going on the show to make friends. I don't need more friends. I'm going on the show to make more money, to line my pockets, and to have a better career and put more shoes on my kids' feet. And I think he loved that I was competitive and I didn't want to be famous.
Well, that's real. That's pure honesty.
I was totally honest.
Yeah, other people are gonna, tell them what they think they want to hear.
People want on that show wanting commercials, wanting contracts, wanting, you know, the world to see them. Wanting fame was a huge one. And I didn't want fame because I knew what came with fame. Yeah. And so, yeah, it was just Mark Burnett.
You had something to prove.
I had something to prove is why I wanted to go on, but when I figured I had a chance, I wanted to win it because I wanted to I wanted to last the entire 18 weeks because I wanted to learn from Donald Trump, the billionaire, how to be successful so I could put that in my career and put it on steroids.
So what was it like working with him? How often was he actually involved in a lot of those things? Because you see that when you watch the show, you see him pop into a challenge and he kind of surveils with his trench coat on, he's just like, all right, he's the big boss and he's looking, okay, all right, you look good, this looks good, this is good, this is... So, I mean, how much of that, obviously we know reality shows are largely staged for the most part. This was sort of a hybrid, it was a game show, hybrid strategy, business show. So when these events would take place, how much interaction with Donald Trump did you have? At
the time, earlier on, not much. We'd get the task, he'd reveal the task, so we'd see him there. We'd have him poke in a little bit here or there, not all the time, and then to announce the winner of the task. And then the boardroom where somebody gets fired. So maybe 4 times, 15 minutes each time, so not much. But the longer you go, then the rewards. Like when I would win as project manager and I got to have, you know, breakfast at his penthouse with Melania and the kitchen table, urinating on his blue Onyx toilet that was $35,000. That was kind of fun. Unique things. So I got to see him more when I would win more, and then there was less competitors, so more time with them.
So what I always wondered, like, these apprentices, they win the show, but then, like, you never hear anything happen.
Right. That's such a great question.
What happens to these people after the show?
Well,
like, you're the apprentice. Okay, so now what? You're going to be serving Donald Trump coffee at Mar-a-Lago?
Yeah.
You know, like, what does it mean?
So when you're a finalist, you have a choice of 2 jobs. You want this one or you want that one. They're typically skewed for your wheelhouse skill sets. So mine was to run the Miss USA pageants. Well, that's perfectly in my wheelhouse because I'm an inspirational speaker, motivator, and a women empowerment coach. Perfect. And
you're an author. You've got some books out now.
I've got a
new book.
Yeah.
From the basements of the White House.
Correct. I got a memoir, which is great. And so I'm all about inspiring others, but primarily women. And so that was a perfect one for me. So if I would have won, I would have gone into that role and done that for a year. And if you're like me, you continue that relationship, and then you parlay that to something else and something else.
Right.
But most contestants die on the vine and don't follow up, and they don't parlay their experience into something else and something else. Well, what I learned was being the runner-up is actually the winner, and I'm not just saying that because I lost and didn't win in the live finale, But I compared notes with the winner, and she was like, well, NBC tied me up for a year. I couldn't do anything without them approving it. Well, the minute I got home, I had 77 job offers. And I was just calling people left and right.
So the first winner, what do you mean NBC ties them up?
You have a contract that you are under contract for 1 year with NBC.
To do what?
Well, like to the extra thing. Hey, Tana, would you like to be the spokesperson for the Bedazzler? Yes, I would. Well, she'd have to call NBC to say, hey, I have a contract. They want to pay me lots of money to be the spokesperson. And they can say, yeah, no. You're going to have to pass on that one. Where I didn't have to have anybody approve anything. I was taking the money.
Oh,
and I was working like a dog. And I'm going to tell you something. That was 2005. And we're in 2023. And I have not stopped working since this date. I have been working like a dog, parlaying opportunity after opportunity after opportunity. I've never slowed down. So when the haters say, she had her 15 minutes of fame, I'm like, sweetheart, it's actually been 18 years.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's so remarkable.
Well, thank you.
That's remarkable, because I always wonder, like, what happens to these people?
Yeah. They just fizzle out because they were there for the wrong motive. I was there to increase my careers.
Yeah.
And so, I had a talk show, and I had a, radio talk show, and I had contracts, and I had commercials, and I had infomercials, and I had speaking engagements, and I had book deals, and it just, I parlay and parlay and parlay and parlay, and it all started there, and I never stopped. So that momentum breeds more momentum. Success, builds upon itself.
Yeah. That's so exciting.
It's so fun. I'm still excited about it. And I have no intentions of slowing down till these legs give out on me, and they're not going to.
Wow.
I hope.
But it all didn't start at the Apprentice, though. I mean, that was a thing. You had to prove something to yourself. Obviously, there was a driving factor to get to that point.
There really was.
Should we go to that point in time?
Oh, I think so. I think we should most definitely. Let's go back. Yeah.
Okay. Well, you tell me what date it is, and we'll jump there. We'll go for May 17, 2005.
Yeah. Wow. Okay. Then I think we're gonna have to jump to September 19th, 1998. Wow, we're really going back. Oh my God, right now I don't know if you felt it, but my heart just sank.
Looking at that date? Really?
I looked at that date and my heart literally sank. Like when you plugged in the first date and my heart started, I was nervousness. This one, my heart, like my stomach just, it felt like it went through the floor.
It's hard to go back to that time?
It was, yeah. It is hard to see that date. I actually don't think I've seen that date in print ever.
Well, let's go.
Yeah, okay.
Let's go. Okay, and we are there now.
Whoa, that was bumpy.
Yeah.
Woo! Well, we're here.
So, what's happening in 1998?
Wow. Well, on this date, what's happening in 1998 is I just gave birth to a beautiful baby girl. I've always wanted a daughter, and she's my second baby. So I got what I wanted, a boy and a girl, but just gave birth. And this date that you just plugged in is the day I left it all. Actually, I left the life that I knew this date and packed it up in a red duffel bag.
You liked the life you knew.
I left everything, my entire life up to that point. The life I'd worked for, the life I created, the friends I made, the house I had built, the clothes that I worked hard for that are hanging in my closet. I left it all and stuffed everything I could in a matter of 1 hour to not get talked out of that decision that I'd made.
Who would talk you out of that decision?
My ex-husband. I was rushing against the clock because I left him in a hotel in Palm Desert, California. And I left him at 7 a.m. in the morning when my 2 babies woke up. And I knew if he got to me, he'd talk me out of my decision that was made. That's how I was literally racing against the clock. And
it must have been pretty bad that you would have to make those kinds of decisions to just up and go.
It was. It's unfortunate because a lot of people don't make the decision and they never live the life that they could live, and that I knew I was destined for, and knew that I had wanted, that fantasized about this life my whole life, and I didn't have it. And I knew I was never going to be able to have it, so I had to make a very hard decision. And I had to pack it up and escape that life.
So, what's the first thing you did when you escaped? You're being a little vague for me.
Yeah, what I had to do is I had to have a place to go. So I called my Italian parents, who I always knew would give me, help me. I called them up and said, can me and the kids move in? I had no choice. And they said yes. So I packed up the one bag, and loaded the children, and we got on an airplane with the one-way flight from Orange County, California to Salt Lake City, Utah, and turned the key and left everything but what I could put in that bag, and half of the bag was diapers and nursing pads because I had a brand new baby.
Wow.
And off we went. And we moved into my mom and dad's basement, the 3 of us.
And that's the beginning of the story. That's the beginning of your book.
That's the beginning.
From the basement.
Correct. I got my second chance. I feel like I got my reinvention, my start over, started in the basement. And I had to start the book there because I didn't need to give all the details as to how I got to the basement, but everybody needed to know that I started in the basement with one duffel bag. And if I can do it, I'm a testament that anyone can do it if you stay focused on what you want and what your goals are.
So you go from the basement in 1998 to being on The Apprentice in Trump Tower in New York as a finalist in 2005.
7 years later.
Can you kind of carry us through that point?
Sure. Great question. Yeah, hard work, a lot of discipline, a lot of soul searching, a lot of hustling, a lot of gratitude for my parents for letting me have the opportunity to work and reinvent myself and flex that entrepreneurial muscle that I had that was stifled.
So what did you do for money at that point?
So I worked for my sister. My sister has a designer consignment store, and I worked for her. I had to ask my younger sister for a job.
Wow.
Yeah, but it was fine. I mean, I'm not a prideful person, but it still stung a little.
Sure.
And she, of course, said yes. And so she hired me, and I did great work for her, and she gave me a job. I could have found any job, but I wanted to work with my sister. And my mom took care of my babies, so I didn't have to find childcare. And so I worked like a dog. I worked for her, and I had a side hustle of selling furniture at the consignment store, and I made a lot of money. Meaning, not a lot, I made money to get out of my parents' house because my goal was to be independent of my mom and my dad, their help. And I made a goal of a year, and I accomplished it in 7 months. And then when I got out of their house and functioning as a mom, a single parent with 2 children that depended on me, is when really reality started stinging, because I realized I didn't want to be alone in life. I wanted to share my life with a man. I wanted to be a wife, and I wanted the picture perfect family like everybody does. And I didn't deserve what had happened to me, but I made the choice to get there because I didn't notice. I noticed the red flags, but I didn't run like hell.
So when did that all come into focus? When did that dream of the perfect marriage come into focus?
Well,
was it before 05 or after?
No, it was immediately when I was in the basement. I was like, here's what happened. When I did all this soul searching, I'm like, Tana, you have to blame for this mess you're in. Yes, he's, got behaviors that you aren't tolerating and that aren't healthy for you and not going to serve your soul and spirit. So he's got that part to contribute, but I had also overlooked the red flags that were flaring red.
Right.
And so I thought I could use him as a home improvement project, as a fixer-upper, and fix him, and I couldn't. So I overlooked what I should have been running from. So I did that soul searching in my mom and dad's basement.
Wow.
And in that basement, I was like, I'm never going to let this happen to me again. I want to find a husband. I want to share my life with someone. I want a father for the children, a man that's in the house raising the children. I want this example.
Did you find that?
I did. My God is so good. I found that.
When did you find that?
That is another beautiful date.
We should go there.
I'd love to.
We definitely need to go there.
I would love to. That's actually, just made
Let's
my
go
heart
there.
sing.
Let's go.
Okay,
Let's
let's
go.
go there. Okay.
Let's have some fun. Let's go find love.
Okay, yeah, let's
All
find
right.
Okay, so that date,
All right, tell me.
September 24th.
We got to reset the time circuits here. We want to make sure we got enough plutonium.
Do we?
We got to check. Let's see.
My bad. Sorry, I did.
That's okay. Looks like the gauges look solid.
Oh,
okay,
good.
what's the date we're going to?
September 24th, 2000.
All right.
Oh, that just made my heart sing.
Here we go. Here we go.
This is so perfect.
There we go.
Wow.
There we go. Sometimes it likes to jump us twice. So
Wow.
we call that time skipping.
Whoa, what was
But we're
that?
good,
That
we're
was
good,
fun.
we're
Hey,
good,
this
we're
was
good.
worth it.
Yeah.
This is the best part.
So tell me now, we're looking for love in all the right places.
Yes, we
now,
sure are.
Right?
Yes. How you can go from a Prince Harming to a Prince Charming is an incredible story.
Wow, tell me.
Well, I made a list in 1998 what I wanted in a man if I were to ever be so lucky to get a second chance.
Uh-huh.
And I made this list in my parents' basement one night when I couldn't sleep, and I honestly got every attribute of that person that was on that list and more. So I met a man through the shop that I worked at, and this woman said, I met this perfect guy for you, Tana. You guys are identical. He's incredible.
So you were working at the consignment shop?
I was working at my sister's store, and one of the best consigners came into the store and said, who worked at the TV station, she said, the meteorologist at the television station is Tana, you gotta meet him. Can I?
A weatherman?
Yeah, my husband's a meteorologist. We call it meteorologist because weathermen aren't as smart as he is. They didn't get the degrees.
Wait, there's a difference?
A huge difference. Degrees and seals.
Well, meteorologist, yeah, that's clearly a title, but
yeah,
like weatherman is not the same?
No. Weatherman, you don't have to have a seal, like a National Weather Service seal, and all these other degrees. Like my husband has a degree, and if you're a weatherman, you don't need a degree. So my husband's super smart.
So when you watch TV,
he's that guy that's pointing to the map.
if it says weatherman,
that he's stupid. If they say weatherman, he or she didn't
my goodness, I
didn't
never
go
knew
the
that.
distance. So if they say weatherman, God don't trust them. Only trust meteorologists.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay.
So my husband is incredible. His name is Curtis. And this girl, Courtney, says, hey, Tana, can I give Curtis your number? And I said, honey, I'm still breastfeeding. Like, for God's sakes, like, I'm not looking for a man. And I put her off and put her off and put her off and put her off. And finally I said yes. So he asks me on a blind date. It wasn't
blind
a blind date.
But you knew who he was?
No, I don't. I never watch TV. I still don't. I couldn't tell you.
Really?
I couldn't tell you who anybody is on television. I never watch television. So no, I never.
Okay, so you weren't like.
I was not
there
a
he
fangirl.
is.
I
That's the
wasn't
guy
a
right
fangirl.
there.
No,
There's the meteorologist. So you had no idea.
No idea.
Legit blind date.
Like
okay,
literally
okay,
a blind date,
okay.
and it wasn't love at first sight on either of our ends. And so we dated for a year and a half, and he asked me and the children to marry him.
You and the children.
Yeah, and I was like, "You have."
How does that?
Well, he just said Tana would. He knew he was purchasing a package deal. Like this was a package deal.
Yeah.
So he was proposing to all three of us.
Wait, were you all three there?
No,
at
we
that
were not.
moment?
No, we weren't. He didn't give like my daughter a ring or anything.
Well, no, I mean like.
Yeah.
When he proposed to you, the children weren't
They
there.
were not there.
Okay.
Yeah, I didn't even expect when he was proposing. He said, "Hey, let's go out of town." My mother was watching the kids. He pulls over at this exit. I'm like, I wonder what's happening here. He's like, "Stay put." He goes in the back. I can hear him like fussing with something. He pops me out of the car, puts me on the bed of a truck. The sunset he's romantic like that. There's this gorgeous sunset, be like setting right behind us, and he gets down on one knee and he asks me if I'd spend the rest of my life with him, and I was like, "Oh my God, you had me at that!" Like yes, and so he said, "We'll do it however you want to do it. You're the bride, however you want to do it." I said, "I want to get married to you in 2 weeks." I had 500 people at my first wedding. I didn't give a damn about half of them. Actually, 3/4 of them, only my family and his family. And I said, "I want to marry you in 2 weeks." He asked me on my birthday, September the 12th. I said, "Let's get married in 2 weeks. And we'll invite all of our best friends and all of our family. We won't have any of that fuss, and everybody that loves us will be there, and everybody that loved us showed up." It was in Vegas.
Wow.
I wanted it super simple. And honest to God, he was a godsend for sure. He's been the best thing that has ever happened to me and my children, and I have never, ever stopped treating him like a king, and he has treated me like a queen since the day we got married.
Wow,
and
beautiful.
It's just, and so he was my second chance. I'm not going to ever blow it, and I respect him, I love him, and he treats me and the children incredible, and he's just been everything I've ever could have. It was the picture that I had in my mind my whole life, what I wanted, and he gave us an incredible life, and we're just getting started, really.
Wow.
It's been 22 years, actually 23 on September, but it's just been incredible.
That's just remarkable.
So there's
That's
happy
so
endings,
beautiful.
Happy endings to hard times and bad stories, and it's just so
So
remarkable.
we started at the Apprentice. 40 million people watching you.
Yeah.
You proved it to everyone, yourself. We went to the beginning when it was the hardest and the darkest time, and now jumped forward to the time where love is ruling again.
Yes.
And so you're firing on all cylinders.
Mm-hmm.
You got the love, you've got job opportunities, you're helping people, all these things are happening.
Yeah.
But now tell me about your work after The Apprentice, and of course you were working in the Donald Trump campaign.
Yes.
Which was you're going from the frying pan and into the fire when it comes from the business world into this political swamp.
Yeah.
Tell me what that was like, the transition going into it. How were you presented with that opportunity?
Yeah, so great question. So after The Apprentice, the jobs came in, and being, like I said, an entrepreneur, I get to pick and choose. And so, I had calls every day were different, which is what I loved. And
I think we have to go to that time though.
Oh, okay. So
I think we're getting ahead of ourselves.
Well, we are most definitely. So, I was going to say, could we talk about maybe May 2006? I don't know the specific date, but let's throw out May the 15th. That feels about when we aired this.
2016?
2006.
Okay. Well, We got to restart this time circuits.
Woo!
Okay, here we go. All right, here we are.
Woo!
So it's May 15, 2006.
Yeah, so I get a call from a producer asking me if I want to be a contestant on Fear Factor, Reality Stars Fear Factor. It's like, do I look like I eat bugs?
Dude, I love that show.
Do you really?
I hate when I watched it because it was like watching a train wreck every episode.
That's so true.
You couldn't turn away from watching what these people were doing.
I know, it's insane. Yeah, it's crazy. So after The Apprentice, opportunities kept coming and coming and coming, and this one was coming. It came to me, and I don't like to say no to opportunities, especially ones that help you grow and stretch and become better and put yourself out there. And so I was like, gosh dang it, you know, what do I have to do? And they're like, well, we're picking reality television stars that were unforgettable from all of the reality TV shows. And back then, this was when reality TV was real. 2005 was Apprentice. So they got Amazing Race, Survivor, Apprentice, American Idol, and I think there might be one. Oh, in the Real World.
Okay.
And so I was asked to be the one from The Apprentice, and they were going to pair me up with another Apprentice contestant, as they were pairing every other reality star up with another apprentice or another contestant from their show or from their one of their seasons or whatever. So I said, well, who do you want to pick for me as my partner? And they wanted to pick this guy who I had heard was talking crap about me on the internet, saying this is a mother, like she's going to go first, and she looks like Kathy Lee Gifford, but 20 years younger. And I was like, who is this schmuck? So this schmuck is talking about, yeah, that's what he said. She's like Kathy Lee Gifford, but 20 years younger. Well, I was like, so that's the guy you want to pair me up with? His name was Raj. I said, yeah, no deal. And they were like, well, that's what we're offering. And I was like, well, I'll tell you what, I'll go on your show, but let me pick the contestant that I want to have on, because I'm not going to take time away from my work. If I don't have a chance in hell to win this thing, it was a $150,000 prize.
Wow.
They said, that's not how we do it. I said, well, then I'm not your girl. So we hang up. The next day he calls me back and he's like, well, I told the producers what you said, and we really want you, so go ahead and you can pick your guy. Who's it going to be?
Whoa!
I know who it's going to be. It's going to be my roommate from The Apprentice, Craig, who was a firefighter, and he was tough.
So
I was
you
like,
got to get partnered up with another apprentice.
Well, Raj was an apprentice contestant too, but he was a different season, and he wasn't my type of a guy. And especially talking about me, no thank you. So I go on Fear Factor with Craig, and
then Joe Rogan was the host.
Joe Rogan was the host. I met him, and he was really cool. And he would say stuff like, Tana, you're competitive. And, Tana, what was it like? Was that harder than Donald Trump's boardroom? And I was like, actually, yeah. And, I mean, there's a few stunts. I had to do 6 stunts, make it to the finals again, always a bridesmaid. But at the end of the day, I lost to, you want to know who I lost the whole competition to?
Who?
The Miz. Like the Miz, he's a WWE world-known best wrestler. He's like tough as nails. Like, wow. I thought Craig was tough. This guy's killer tough. He's a WWE superstar. He's the guy that beat me. He was 20, I was 38, 40. I don't know what the hell I was. So yeah, it was really cool. I mean, it was an incredibly crazy experience. Being in a bikini with tarantulas all over me, and then when I watched the show, they're like getting crotch shots of me, and I was like, whoa, come on, dudes. Like now I see why they wanted us in bikinis.
Of course.
I'm like in this like coffin going down the track, and they're splattering tarantulas all over me, and they're biting me. And
can I ask you, what's that like? I mean, like, can they bite you?
So tarantulas can bite you, but they're not poisonous. Certain times, like this is what they were saying. So, okay, so one of the things was I'm in a coffin going down the track, and there's 3 holes, and I got to get these flags. So I got to get them with my teeth because I'm shackled down. Get them with my teeth.
I think I remember that one.
Yeah, and they're dumping. I'm talking the largest trash can, like the kind of trash can that you take out at the trash the curb at your house, filled with tarantulas. So anyways, when I lifted my head up to get the flag to not have the tarantulas go down my neck, I had to put my head back to have Craig push me down the coffin. So when I went like this, creak, creak, I hear them all scream. Yes, they're all creaking.
No, thank
I'm
you.
smushing them.
Oh no!
They're like, no, literally, I'm smushing the tarantulas to get my head back. He's like,
come
Tana, you
on.
got to put your head back. I'm like,
no,
dude,
no,
crunch. I hear
no.
them crunch.
No.
Swear to God. Crunch, crunch, crunch. And
Oh,
then
my
to the next one. And so I'll never forget this little asshole. We get to the third one. I mean, I'd already been through like buckets and buckets and buckets of humongous tarantulas. Now the third one, I get the thing with my teeth again, and I see the guy up there dumping the tarantulas. And I could see the tarantulas were filled to the top. Some were pouring over, and they were falling on the ground. And this little dirtbag had the audacity, not like I didn't have 500,000 already on me. The two that fell off, he kicked down in the hole so they'd land on me too. And I'm like, oh give me 2 more, buddy. Yeah.
Wow.
It was so. Anyways, when I get done with that task, I won $10,000 on that one because I was the toughest chick, and Craig was the fastest at getting the keys. We win $10,000 each, and we win TiVo for life. Woohoo! Yay me!
Oh, TiVo. I don't even think people
TiVo
use
doesn't
that anymore.
exist. Hey, thanks for the prize.
TiVo for life.
TiVo for life. That didn't work.
How many other contestants had to go through that?
Well, I think all of us, unless a couple had gotten booted off before that. But pretty much, well, I think like 4 other teams. And we won that one, so I was proud to say that. But I mean, there were so many tasks, being 150 feet from the ground in a race car, throwing hacky sacks at each other, trying to catch them, and you had 90 seconds, and then the car was going to drop to the ground, explode, and you're bungeed off into no man's land. I was in the tank with hissing cockroaches and like leeches and all this stuff sucking off of me, and man, did that reek. Like all of us girls in the car going back to the hotel, we all stunk, and I'm like, what is this? And the producers, like, they excrete this scent.
The leeches?
The blood-sucking cockroaches. It was like
blood-sucking cockroaches?
Or something about hissing cockroaches and leeches, and somebody, maybe there wasn't blood-sucking. Maybe I imagined that part. I don't remember that being super.
Yeah, your mind's going to go to a lot of places when you got that stuff
I can't
around
remember. But it was a great experience, and it was a whole different demographic. Little did I know that, like, the 21-year-olds and the 29-year-olds love that show. Now I know why, because women are in bikinis.
Yeah.
And but I did it because I wanted to prove to my kids and the world that fear's never been a factor for me. And it wasn't. My kids thought that was so cool. Screw the Apprentice.
Tana, fear is not a factor.
Right, it wasn't.
Oh my goodness.
That's actually a chapter in my memoir, Fear is Not a Factor.
Oh my goodness.
And I explained the whole situation, but it was really cool. But one thing after the next, as you were asking, what was I doing? Parlaying opportunities and taking them. Because if I said no, then they were going to go find somebody else that would say yes. And that's how I live my life.
Did you do any other reality shows?
No, just those 2.
Wow.
Yeah. I was interested.
And I mean, they pay you like just to go on the show, right?
Yeah, so we were guaranteed $10,000 just to say we would do it and to compete in the first task. But I wasn't there for the $10,000. I was there for the $150,000 prize.
Wow.
And, I got beat by the Miz, and that's okay. I mean, my husband was like, yes, oh God, she lost. There we go.
Okay, so you shoot these shows, and I know a lot of these things are shot on a sequence, and then they broadcast them. Was your husband able to watch it with you? Were you able to watch it together, or is it something that was you were filming, they were recording it and broadcasting it? Like how was the flow with that?
So that's a great question, because on The Apprentice, I went and shot it, and then came home, and then there was a 6-month waiting period. I couldn't tell anybody I was in the finale. I couldn't tell anybody how far I went.
Really?
I had to sign a non-disclosure, big money, $5 million if I opened up my mouth. So then one of my rewards was on The Apprentice. This is one of the best things that happened on the show. Actually, these earrings, the Mikimoto store makes incredible pearls. We won. I was the project manager, and we got to go to Mikimoto's and pick out either earrings, necklace, or cufflinks. And it was like a $2,500 value each of us got. And I chose to get the cufflinks for Curtis because he wore dress shirts every single day on TV.
Sure.
And everybody was like, I can't believe you're not getting anything for yourself. And I was like, no, I want to surprise Curtis. So I take those cufflinks, I hide them, and I don't give them to him till we're watching the show air on our living room sofa. And he was like, so they cut to commercial and they were like, and Tana wins as project manager. Everybody goes to Mickey Moto and stay tuned to see what they get. And he goes, you never showed me. What did you get? I have the box and the cushions in my sofa. And so we come back and then they had the camera on me and I go, you know what? My husband sacrificed so much for me to be here. My husband dresses up every day and wears French cuff shirts. And he goes, what? And I pull it out and he just starts crying and he's like, why would you give up your reward on me? And literally he went to TV the next day and he goes, okay, everybody. Yeah, they're insured. And it was like so cute. And so then the funniest thing is so my roommate, Craig, when I did that, he goes, Rumi, that was so sweet of you to do that. He goes, trust me, someday Curtis is going to buy you those earrings that you wanted. And I go, oh, I doubt it, buddy. You know, we don't buy each other extravagant gifts like that. And it was a one of a kind. Never believed Craig. Fast forward like 5 years later. It's so weird. I have him on today. 5 years later, Curtis gives me a gift, and it's a Mickey Moto box. And I thought he was reusing the box that I gave him the cufflinks in. And I go, wonder what's in here. And he goes, I wonder. And literally I open it up and it's the earrings that I wanted. And he called the Mickey Moto store and said, I need those exact earrings, the exact size that you had for that Apprentice reward. And they're like, well, we don't have them. And he's like, you got to find them for me. So he gave them to me, and these are them.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so it was just so cool. So, we got to
beautiful.
watch both of the shows together, and that was really great. And the kids, and I had like watch parties.
What about the Fear Factor, though?
Fear Factor.
Because you're doing some nasty stuff there.
So Fear Factor was so now I know the game of reality TV. I'm like, oh honey, you're gonna pay me if you want me to come do a watch party. So I had restaurants and bars that were hiring me to come in and make appearances. I had a restaurant that paid me like $2,000 to step in and drink a Tana teeny that they named after me, and I was like, hell yes. So we'd go in, and so I was more versed to how to capitalize and monetize on know the fame.
Yeah.
And so it was just fun, but no, I didn't care. I mean, it was gross, but you know, if you've got the stomach for it, I'll give you what you want, because this is Fear Factor. You know, if you're afraid of a spider, I was the one that was sleeping with them. What are you crying about, right?
What did your husband say when he saw all you doing all this?
He said, my God, I mean, I thought you were tough, but you're unbelievable. He was like, Tana, there's nothing that you can't do. And he's like, the thing I love about you most, and a lot of people don't know, is you have such a strong mind that, like, I can overcome anything like nerves or I was afraid of tarantulas. I've never even seen a tarantula, but all of a sudden, like, this is what I had to do. I had to jump out of a helicopter into the ocean. I forgot about that one too. I'd been in a helicopter that was Trump's when we won a reward on the Apprentice, but a helicopter, no doors, and I had to jump out of it into the ocean and swim. That was Fear Factor.
I remember that episode too.
It was like go time. Well, when it's go time, you gotta go, right?
Oh.
Right?
So you're crazy.
You go when it's go time.
Crazy.
Yeah,
oh,
man.
Tana, man.
You gotta show up and show off.
Oh my goodness.
That's what I did.
Wow. Well, you showed up at the campaign.
Oh my God.
Let's jump to that time. We don't have much time left in our time machine.
Okay. Well, I can give you that date.
So give us the date. Let's jump.
Okay, that is June 15th, 2015.
All right, let's go. Oh, nothing like traveling through time. Nothing beats it.
That's amazing.
Still got enough fuel to get back to my timeline.
Good.
So, tell me about the moment that you jumped from the TV celebrity world into all of a sudden the jaws of political campaign.
Oh my gosh. So, I am a successful businesswoman at this time, and business is my business. And Donald Trump comes down the golden escalator and gets on an airplane and comes to Iowa that same day. And I haven't seen Donald Trump for 2 years up to this point, so I get my butt to that event. Reached out to the person that was like running the campaign. I didn't even know there was a campaign at the time, and he of course wasn't going to call me back because he was a knucklehead, and of course, you know, doesn't do the job well. So I just figured I'm not going to rely on anybody. I'm going to get there. So I go and get in front of Trump, and I said, if you want to be the president of the United States, you need me. And he goes, oh, most definitely. If I don't win Iowa, I'm not the president. So I was hired on the campaign, and I go into the political office the very next day, and there's all these political operatives that know politics. I didn't even know what a caucus was. I thought it was a dirty part of I thought it was the dirty word for the male genitalia. That's what I thought. It's like, oh my, caucus? Should we be saying this? Oh yeah, caucus. I learned all about it.
We're going to have a caucus tonight.
We're going to have a caucus. Oh honey, yes we are. So I got jumped into this. I got plunged into this, thrown into the deep end. And the dudes were all cool. I mean, it was all dudes and me. And they were just like, you know, a lot of them I'm sure were like, oh, Tana's just friends with Trump. That's the only reason that she's here. She probably don't know anything, which I didn't. But I'll tell you what I did know, the candidate. And I'll tell you what else I knew, business. Yeah. So I just decided I'm going to treat politics like a business.
Boom.
And I'm really good at marketing. I'm great at branding.
That's what it is. It's marketing.
It's marketing.
It's marketing a person.
Correct. I'm a great salesman. That's how I got on the show, selling Mary Kay. Hello. So I knew I could sell the product, which was Donald Trump.
Yeah.
And I did it, and I did it really well. And so we were successful. Like he won Iowa by the largest margin in any battleground state. Wow. So we cleaned up house. And he told me, I'm going to blame you if we don't win Iowa. And I said, you can blame me, but I still want the credit when we win. And he goes, done. So guess what? You're looking at her,
I
sister.
Want the credit
I said,
win,
you can. I'll take that burden, but you're also going to give me the credit when we win. And he did. He says, without Tana, I wouldn't be the president. That's what's so great. But so I learned a lot in politics. I learned there's so many fakes, phonies, and frauds, and there's a lot of people that'll take a paycheck and don't give a damn if the business.
The consultants out there. Just,
please!
Just bleeding campaigns dry.
They are. I watch so many people.
They work inside the Beltway, and then they just...
Oh, they're terrible.
And then they come out to the state. They have no idea anything about the state, and they're just collecting a paycheck.
Taking a paycheck, lying to the candidate. Honest to God, some people that worked on the campaign, Donald Trump didn't hire any of them but me, and a small handful of other people, like our state director and Corey and all these other people. But in general, he didn't hire the field organizers and the other knuckleheads. And so I honestly believe that some of these people never even voted for him, and they took a paycheck from him. Yeah. So I learned the ugly side of politics. I also learned that a lot of knuckleheads and weirdos come out in that industry, and people that I wouldn't necessarily ever even have a conversation with because they were so far nutty. I had to befriend because I needed to get their vote. Yeah. So I learned that there was a lot of agendas.
Oh yeah.
And I had an agenda also, and my agenda was to make sure Donald Trump won. So I was being nice to people that I maybe wouldn't have given so much time to in the past. But I learned a lot, and I learned that's where I learned that women some women feel very threatened by strong women who are really good at what they do, and that's what inspired me to push forward for another time.
Well, we're going to go back to March 25th real quick. Because we got to get back. I got to get back to my timeline, and you got to get back to yours. So let's get there. Well, Tana, it has been an amazing story to listen to. Doc was right. I have learned so much from you, and I know that everybody who is watching this podcast has learned a lot as well.
Oh, thank you for your time, and thank you for sharing everything that you shared with me as well.
Well, we're in a time machine, so
Yeah,
we have plenty of time.
I appreciate that, and I look forward to hopefully seeing you again.
I'm sure our paths will cross in the future.
Yes. Thank you.
Okay. All right, catch your train.
I shall. Yeah, it looks like it's here. I better get going. Bye-bye now.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Take care of yourself.
You too. Well, that was something else. Quite a story. Well, thanks for joining us on this edition of Back to the Podcast. That was Tana Goertz. And we'll put the links to all of her socials, her books, and everything down below. And, well, I got to get back to my timeline. See you in the future.